Boom. We are live, baby, live. No countdown today. Just a little bit of an odd day. Normally, I love our countdown too, but next time maybe I'll do it. To get through day. No Big Show back here. He's got important shit to attend to. So it's me and Max. As you have on the very front, thank you for watching, as we all say. Monday, baby. Big Monday, February 21st. How are you doing today, Max? How was your weekend? How's everything rolling, my guy?
Yeah, I think that the weekend I finally was able to make the transition from paying Gus to Gus paying me. And, it felt good. I didn't have to go down to the homeless shelter to get ladies of the night to perform sex acts on me. I was able to go high end and I'm broke today. So I'm looking forward to trying to make back some money so that I can spend it on hoes on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week.
I like it. Good response. Yeah, Saturday was pretty good for me too, especially morning and afternoon. I kind of had some bad losses at the end of the night. But yesterday was really good. It was a great Sunday. I'm stoked. I think there's some good action on this card today. And we got a little extra on a Monday, Max, because normally um, we have a little less games because of cancellations, all the shit that's going on. We got a few extra than normal on some of these like Pac-12 games, etc. But before we bust into the games and get into the best goddamn chat in the game, I want you to hit me with the line movement. What's caught your eye from last night to right now, side and total, my guy?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right into it. I'll start with the main board. We have seen a move towards Louisville and a move towards the under when it comes to that game. 146 down as low as 143 and a half. And North Carolina opened up as a 10-point favorite. They are now as low as a 9 or 9.5 point favorite. Then we have Florida State, who is going to have Raekwon Evans back in the lineup versus Boston College. And this is a line that I thought that should have gotten steam for Florida State and makes me really wonder what's going on that spot. Going down the board, I have to stop and mention the fact that we have seen a slight move to the over in Indiana and Ohio State. We also have seen a slight move towards the under in the Marshall game. So, not a ton of significant line moves, but we do see that at this point in the season, every point matters. When I go down the board, Connor, specifically on the main board, I do stop at West Virginia and TCU, where we have seen that total go from 132 and a half to as high as 134 and a half, with Eddie Lampkin a game time decision for TCU tonight. I think that when we look at the Idaho State Northern Colorado game, a game that is going to be played at altitude with an Idaho State team that may be missing Tariq Cool in addition to Robert Ford already, I think that that is a game where we may see a little more steam towards the under later on, right before game time, 145 down to 144. When I do look at the Evansville Valparaiso game, this is a game where I'm not surprised that we are seeing line movement towards the under 126 and a half down as low as 124. And speaking of a spot where we've seen a significant move, we have to talk about Eastern Illinois and SIU Edwardsville. With Edwardsville, they open up as an 11.5 point favorite. That's down to as low as 7.5 right now. So there is some belief for Eastern Illinois in that game. And that line got as high as 128 and now is back down to where it opened at 125 and a half. Baylor and Oklahoma State, not much really to say there. I do think that in the Arizona State UCLA game that will be played at 6 o'clock West Coast time, 6 o'clock West Coast time, seeing that total go from 133 down to as low as 130 and a half definitely took me for a ride. I'm expecting UCLA to continue their home dominance, at least early on. Then we have to talk about San Francisco, who went from a 14-point favorite down as low as 12 and a half versus Pacific at Pacific. And if you watch Pacific, you know that they are a difficult team to deal with in their home building, more so than on the road. New Mexico State opened up as a 1.5 point favorite. We did see them get as high as 3. We saw a little buyback on Seattle, but the total is what really moved. 140.5 to as high as 144. And with Seattle, they did not get the 3-headed scoring monster to hit threes last time. Maybe on their home rims, they'll have better luck. Conor, just quickly going to the added board, I'll just talk about one or two games over here. I will say that we have seen a very surprising move with the total when it comes to Norfolk State and Morgan State, 145.5 to 148. Morgan State definitely having problems, and Norfolk not really having problems with being able to D up on Morgan State's offensive scheme. I think that with Alabama A&M and Florida A&M, we've seen that total go from 123 to 126. And that is probably because Garrett Hicks is back for Alabama A&M. That's the only thing that I can think of. And of course, people betting it. And
Excellent.
Conor, lastly, I'm going to talk about one dog that moved. We did see Delaware State open up as a 12.5 point underdog. They are now down to as low as 9.5 or 9. So very surprising moves there.
Excellent job letting us all know. Breakdown there, Max.
Definitely looks like I'm having.
I can hear you. Are you frozen? Here, bounce out real quick. I don't know if you can bounce out. Can you bounce out? Oh, he's frozen. All right. Max is still circling. Still circling. Are you there, Max? All right, leave it on me. Let's see if I can get him back in just a second. Let's get to my games, because usually I get to Max games, but we will get to his. Let me see if I can get him now in here.
All right. Hello.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I got you. I'm back. All right, that could happen again. Just let everyone. I don't know. Maybe it's. I said one thing. Can we have both our internets work today with no Big Show back here? It's fucking up already. Okay, I was gonna get into mine, but you ready to roll, Max, with yours? Yeah. You ready? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
New Mexico State. They're 2.5 point favorites here against Seattle. This is an excellent game. I looked at. I think it's going to be a good one. Seattle should be pumped up, played well all year. Can they take down New Mexico State, laying the short number on the road? This total's right about 143. Tell me what you like here.
Yeah, listen, I think that this is a spot where Seattle has all the opportunities to get this revenge. Coming off a real big high, and the only blemish that the Seattle team has on their resume lately are losses towards the Aggies and Grand Canyon. I think that with Seattle, it's very important for Darian Trammell to be the focal point of the offense. But if you do not get Riley Grigsby and Cam Tyson shooting threes and hitting threes, this team is not going to be able to overcome what Teddy Allen can do. First half defense is going to be critical, and if Seattle can go in with the lead, they are going to be on their way to be able to win this game. I think that Seattle, with their 3-point shooting and their free throw shooting, if they can pick that up with their offensive rebounding, all stuff that New Mexico State is going to want to be able to win on. I don't think that they're going to be able to. By my number, this could have been a pick 'em, and I still would have liked Seattle. And at 2.5, I still think that they're a good full game.
I agree with you here, Max. I'd only be on Seattle. You got to think that place, for how well they're playing this year, it should be packed, especially with New Mexico State coming into town. Always, the best team in the conference for the most part, kind of beat them up over the years. So I think they'll be come prepared tonight. So I love the bet. I like money line, but if you want to take the 2.5, there's even a 3 I saw earlier, like at FanDuel for Seattle. But I like it. I agree there. Let's get to your next one. EIU versus SIU Edwardsville here. You talked about this line move that's dropped down all the way to 7.5. There's 7.5, a few eights. Low total here, 125, 125.5. What's your look here?
Yeah, listen, I think that when it comes to the total, we missed the best of the line, so there's really no point in talking about it. Eastern Illinois is a team that can freaking keep this game close, and that's what they're going to have to do in this game tonight. I like how Kashawn Charles is able to really go off from the 3-point line. I do like Sammy Friday and the physicality that he can bring, and they're going to have to be physical because Sean Doss and Shamar and Lamar Wright have been getting a little comfortable, We are going to see this SIU Edwardsville team do a good job of crashing the glass, but can they stay out of foul trouble? And that's where Eastern Illinois is going to have to be able to take advantage of them. They have been a middle of the boat free throw shooting team, but the amount of times that this SIU team is going to put them on is what they have to deal with, and they have to be able to take advantage of. The other thing, SIU Edwardsville is going to hurt themselves with turnovers, playing too fast. And if you're able to capitalize and score 8 or 9 points off those turnovers, I don't see why you can't stay in this game and at least keep it close. So for me, it's Eastern Illinois maybe on the first half, but not getting the freaking overnight number really hurts.
Yeah, and obviously people jumped on it because you're right. I'm not that Eastern Illinois is great, but both sloppy teams, like you mentioned, both teams to be sloppy with the basketball. And there's just no way, even at 7.5, if you find this cheap, I'm going to lay it with Edwardsville in this spot. Just definitely no way. Excellent. Let's get to your third one. Before you do, I got to give a shout out to the chat since we missed that, Max. As they say, the best chat in the goddamn game.
Fuck
no doubt,
yeah.
my guy. Fuck yes. Real Deal Prime, a.k.a. The Grinder. Always grinding. Pumping, selling heat pumps, my guy. Real Deal Prime. Nuke Worker, my man. It's great to see you in here. Newly retired Nuke Worker, I believe. Great to see you. Dale, shout out to Dale in here. Thank you for that dono on Saturday, man. Really, really appreciate it. Ryan, Polly Walnuts, Peanuts, what's going on? Jefferson C, Ninja 13, THC Rizza, Rara Murray, great to see you. Bill McHugh, Gerald Jones, Big 1051, AJN, James Calley, Rob, John Harmon, Row Your Boat, 1777, Memorabilia, bringing it back. CT Bays, good to see you. CT Bays, Jake the Snake, Jake from State Farm, what's up, my man? Rodney Barton, Tori Coker, Nasty Nate. Shout out to everybody in here. Rob, Gerald G. Martinez, Gary, good to see you. Arthur Mead Jr., Kirk Gray, King CB23, Colton. Everyone's here, Max. Shout out to our guys. We be pubbing, baby. Hit the like button for us. No doubt. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right, Max, let's keep rolling with your games, my man. Delaware State versus South Carolina State. They're laying 9.5. This big number, I know you've taken Delaware State in a few spots on the road here, but still catching a big number. Total 136.5. Do you like this dog again?
Yeah, 100% I like this dog again. I think that this is a dog that could freaking bark again because John Stansbury has refound his scoring touch. I do like the fact that you have a dominant big man in the middle in Zach Kent that can play and be effective at this level of competition. Obviously, with Edward Olivier Hampton, TJ Matlock, Rashawn Edwards, Jamil Davis, these guys can play basketball. We've seen them freaking do a good job in certain situations, but at this number, it just doesn't make sense to me. These guys played a very low scoring game last time out, a 2-point game. A Delaware State covered as a closing line dog of 8.5. While I don't expect them to win any basketball games, what has been working has been backing them as a double-digit dog.
Yeah.
The only time that they didn't freaking cash since, I guess, like maybe the beginning of the month was the Maryland Eastern Shore game. So I'll give them a pass on that. They lost by 8 and that line closed at 7.
Mm.
So it just doesn't make sense for me not to get on Delaware State in this situation. They have a key piece in Miles Carter. They have a complimentary scorer in John Stansbury. They have a good rim protecting big man in Zach Kent. And most importantly, they're playing their best basketball of the year because they're scoring 40 points in the second half. They're extending games. They're fouling. I
Yeah.
love it. I think that
Yeah.
it's a Delaware State spot all day. And if it isn't, maybe I'll make a rant video that I put on Twitter accusing the books of freaking rigging this game.
I love you mentioned that because that's how they've been getting it done, Max. Just the second half, they're just not going away. They're playing hard. They're not kind of giving up, and that's kept them and made it cover numbers, like you mentioned. So great point to that one there. Alrighty, let's get to your next one. I've already seen people drop this in the chat, Max. Here, Evansville versus Valpo. Valpo's laying 8.5. We had a low total, obviously, here, 125.5. What are you looking at in this one?
I hate Evansville. I hate them. I hate them. I have a fucking beef with them. Even though they're led by my fellow Canadian Shamar Givens. We know that Jawan Noon hasn't been in the lineup. We know he's not going to be in the lineup. I think that that's something that is obviously freaking already accounted for within the line. So there really is no edge there. I just think that if you can stop Shamar Givens from putting up 21 points on less than 15 shot attempts, then you can win this game and you can cover. Valpo's never been at their freaking best. I think that with Trevor Anderson going out for, I guess, I don't even know. I think it's for the rest of the year with a back injury. That took away some of their point guard depth. But this Evansville team just lost to Valpo. There is a case to make for a revenge situation and for an adjustment. However, I'm not doing it. I don't care. I'm taking Valpo first half and I'm live betting this game. I think Valpo is going to be able to win it. I think Valpo is going to be able to freaking shut down Givens better than they did last time out. They're not going to have the problems that you have the first time. I just think that at the end of the day, Valpo's the better free throw shooting team. They're the better freaking 3-point defense team, and they do the better job on the freaking offensive glass. And neither of these teams do a very good job on the offensive glass. So I hate laying these numbers. I do it all the time, but I'm taking Valpo first half minus 4.5.
First half minus 4.5. We'll see with Evansville. It'll be different. They already got their ass kicked by them, but now that was at home, Max. I love that when now they're going back on the road. It's a little different. We kind of saw that with Missouri, last night. They got their ass kicked on the road, but you come back home, they were catching that 5. I thought it was a great spot. A little different here with Evansville on the road in this one. So I like it. I'd take Valpo early as well. But a team hard to trust for me, though. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say this, though. I think that with this number, especially with how much Valpo's gone over in conference, we're talking about 12 out of 15 games, and they were a lot of games that were aligned higher than this. This seems like a team total spot for Valparaiso.
Excellent. I'm putting a little note there. Team total. All righty, Max, let's get to your last one here. I think this could be a good one. Let's see if Southern Utah here, they're laying 6.5, can go on the road, cover this number at Northern Arizona. Team that still scraps a little bit, hang around, and especially at home and in conference. This total's right around 145.5, 146. What do you like here?
Yeah, listen, I think that with Northern Arizona, Jalen Cone really makes this team freaking go. But the way that this team rebounds the basketball and you know what? The way that they've been stingy at this line, it's very difficult not to take Northern Arizona in this spot. I think that when you look at the length of Nick Maines and Carson Toe, that's a big deal for this team. Being able to bring off the bench Jay Green as a change of pace guard, that's also a nice freaking fit for this team. I think at the end of the day, though, this is a Southern Utah win because Southern Utah needs this game more. Have you gotten rich betting on this team at this number? Hell fucking no. I'll say this. Northern Arizona probably is a good spot to take as a home dog at this number with the location. But I'll say this, Southern Utah on a teaser down to fucking half a point seems pretty goddamn good to me instead of betting the money line at the heavy juice that you'll have to pay.
Yeah, I think that's a good look. I mean, they're the better team, but they got it priced right here. I think, right
Yeah,
around 5 or 6. Yeah.
they play good for first halves and then they freaking stop trying to penetrate and settle for jump shots. They're a slashing team. They have to get to the free throw line. They have to score easy buckets, layups. They can't do that, then they're in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, Max, great breakdown on your games. Let's get to a few of these that I was looking at. Let's get to it. San Francisco at Pacific. We're going with Pacific, a team I know you've took a few times, so have I. And a team I think playing a little bit better, Max. And this team had been on the road for 4 straight games until they finally came home the other day and they beat Loyola 69-68. Even on that trip, other than Gonzaga, take out the Gonzaga game, they got blown out, obviously. They lost to Pepperdine. They lost to SC by 6, San Diego by 6. I just think at home they played their best basketball. So their last home game was Pepperdine because that was a back-to-back. They beat them. They beat BYU. They beat San Diego. They lost to San Diego. But they played well at home. So I think this is a great spot catching 13 points. I don't trust San Francisco. I think they're ranking San Francisco a little bit too high. I don't think Pacific's as good as Portland, like we talked about. This was, 10 days ago, that game or so, where they were catching 18. But I think this is too many points in this spot. So give me the 13 here with Pacific in this game. What do you like here?
Yeah, I'm already on Pacific, Connor. I definitely know that this is a Jekyll and Hyde team on the road and at home. And when you can tell me that Pierre Crockwell, Jeremiah Bailey, and Alfonso Anderson all are capable of having a good offensive game at home, yeah, I believe it, and I bet it, and I've seen it, and I've cashed on it. So I don't think Pacific's going to win this game, but they could win the first half. This could be a juicy first half money line play to get on Pacific. Yeah,
I love the full game, but you're right. This might be one to throw put some few bucks on a first half money line. And this is a very flat spot. Real quick, I forgot to mention San Francisco. Guess who they play at home in a couple days? Gonzaga. Boom. Total flat spot here. They're going to get in just with the win and get out. So I love the 13 points here with Pacific at home. I wanted to mention that. I forgot to jot that down. All righty. Let's get to my next one. A team I haven't played in a while, Max, but I think is playing pretty good basketball as of late. Maybe not winning, and they beat this team just a few days ago, and that is Idaho State going to Northern Colorado. Just beat them just a while back, 61-58. One of the lowest scoring games between both these teams, kind of all year long, especially in conference. Idaho State doesn't have a good defense, so that was why they were at home. They're on the road, but they shouldn't be this big a dog here to Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado's been good. They've been winning at home, but they're not a team that blows out other teams at all. I think this is way too many points. I wanted to touch on the total here. It's 144. Max, I think this gets over as well. Like I said, that first one was such a low-scoring game. I think this one can get over the total tonight, because one thing, Idaho State on the road, their defense hasn't been very good, but I have to put this up because they've been playing so well lately. They caught my at home, they beat Montana. On the road, they beat rival Idaho. They lost by 3 on the road to Eastern Washington, February 12th. They beat Northern Colorado, and they kind of have a shitty loss just the other day against Sacramento. But, man, it's too many points. So just like I thought in Pacific, I know this is on the road, but you're going to give me 13.5 is what I got here. Give me Idaho State, Bengals, plus the points. And I'd lean over, too, in this one, right around the 144 mark. What do you like here?
Well, unfortunately, I lean towards the under in this game, and I'm probably not going to bet that now.
No.
I will say this. I will say this. What I do think that could possibly happen is that Idaho State and Northern Colorado have a high-scoring first half, And then Idaho State just gets fatigued because they are playing at altitude. It is a little bit of a rough stretch. They don't have Robert Ford. They didn't have Tariq Cool last time out. That's 12.5 points. And their best offensive guard, who literally hadn't missed a game at all in his collegiate career. So it's a tough spot. And then coming off that freaking very recent freaking win against them,
Yeah, I know. It is.
If I were to play this game, I'd play the first half over. I'd play Idaho State full game on the spread because I just don't understand why this number is 13.5. And then lastly, excuse me, I would be looking at Northern Colorado's team total over just in case they did rout.
Yeah, and you know what? They could, Max, but I just think they're playing better basketball. Who knows here? We have more games that I like, but I was just staring at one. I'm gonna make sure everything too here. I'll click a few things, but let me get to my next one here real quick. This one to me is a dead over, Max. UTEP, very good game here. UTEP versus Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee's laying 5. Two teams playing really good basketball right now. Middle Tennessee's 10-1 straight up. They've been covering. UTEP the last few have covered. I was shocked. I thought this number, the total, Max, would be like 141. You know what I mean? I thought that seeing this at 137, UTEP plays a little better defense, but I see this game in the 70s. Obviously, in that FIU game with Middle Tennessee the other day, I had them. It just went under 71-65, but they bounced right back against FAU 87-79. Both these teams have been playing well. I think the points with UTEP's interesting here, even though Middle Tennessee's been covering, a lot lately. I think it's a good one. Both teams have just been soaring to the over, 7-2, yada yada, 6-1 with UTEP. So I got to take the over here, 137.5. I thought it was too light. What do you like here?
Yeah, I think that it's points. I took the over. I took UTEP's team total over. I like Middle Tennessee's team total over. I think that with the number, it's a little it's a little freaking peculiar. I think that it should have been a little lower, but I don't want to take UTEP on the road even as a dog in this situation. So I'm just sticking to the totals in this game.
Yeah, so am I. I think the game will be good. Could Middle Tennessee win by 8? Sure, but that should be a good basketball game there. So, yeah, those are my games. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We got my guy Nicky Fish Tanks on the 1s and 2s here. You here, Nicky? I think he's here. He's bringing up the quotes. If he is here, shout out to Mike M., Jake Burns, Soup Panties, Rara Murray, Sam Diaz, Steph, Matty Ice. Shout out to him. Shout out to everyone. Give me all your games. What you guys want us to talk about first. We'll probably touch them all today since we got somewhat of a smaller slate. But give me the total, what you want to talk about in the chat. But I think Nicky's here. So if he's here, hit the commercials. If not, we'll get right to it. You here? Yeah, I know he's back there. Hit the commercials for me, my brother, so we can get it out of the way. Maybe he can't do it. Anyways, total goof up there. Nick, done with the commercials. This is our commercial segment right now, but he doesn't have the commercials. Never mind. Okay, I didn't know you couldn't do it. Okay, I thought it was easy to hit back there. Let's get to it then, Max. Screw the commercials. Commercials are off today. You guys... Well, there he goes. I was laughing so hard that he just hit it there. But you know what to do. Go to Southtown 101, best bar in San Antonio. We're gonna be there soon. Great place. If you're in that area, go hit it up. Tell them we sent you. Go to manscaped.com. 20% off promo codes. Pub Sports. Clean your balls, shave your balls, get all the good shit best product they have. Get the Lawnmower 4.0. And if you need a book, go to mybookie.ag. You got to have multiple books, get multiple lines. Hit it up. Use the Bitcoin. Put 1,000. You get it. They match you. They give you 1,000. And that is it. All right, Max. Let's get to everyone here. Shout out to you, Nick. Thank you, my man. It's just a little rough today. A little on the fly. We're here, and that's all that matters. Let's get it rolling. All right, Max. Let's get to some of these questions here from people. If I don't go far back enough, just hit me up. Write it in again, I guess. Let's get right to this one, Max. Ohio State, Indiana at Ohio State. This line's moved up a little bit. Ohio State, bad home game the other day. I lean to lay the points here. I don't love it. This total's right around 135.5. What do you like here, Indiana, Ohio State?
Yeah, it just seems like a spot where we're getting some make or break time for Indiana. Indiana's going to have to bring the offense on the road. And I think that when you can start and run your offense through Trace Jackson Davis, you can really do a lot. That's a kid that understands how to beat a defense, how to score with the clock stopped. And if he puts up one of his signature games that we've seen him put up a ton so far this year, it's all about what else you're going to get. Xavier Johnson on the ball has just not worked out. There has to be another option for Indiana in this game. And if they do make a change at the point guard spot, I do think that while Xavier Johnson may be on the floor playing off the ball where I think he's better suited, as long as he can avoid a fucking terrible shooting game, I do think Indiana does have some value, at least as a first half team total over. I'm not saying that they got a shot to win the game, but I do think that when I see a team total under 31.5, it is hard for me to resist. And I do think in this situation versus this Ohio State perimeter defense, Indiana could hit some jump shots early.
Yeah, it's just I'm going to watch it. Indiana's played a little bit better on the road, but it hasn't been, I don't know. I don't trust him.
32 points, better offensive output early than late.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck it. I hate that game. Next one, Louisville, North Carolina. I'm not crazy about this one either. What team are we going to get in North Carolina? Who's going to show up? Shitty year for Louisville. 9.5 max. This total anywhere from 143.5 to 145, right around there. What do you like here, Louisville, North Carolina?
Yeah, no, I think that on paper, North Carolina should win this game. Armando Bacot should be able to feast against freaking Malik Williams. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what you're going to get from Louisville's guards. When we're talking about Noah Locke, we're talking about Jared West, we're talking about L. Ellis. These are the guys that got to deliver. And if they do, then Louisville's going to have a shot to win this game. It is very important to note that when Brady Manick is on for this North Carolina team, North Carolina puts it on people. And let's not forget, the only time that we've really seen them be dominant in conference is at home versus some of the lower tier teams in the ACC. So it's a hard spot for me to go and get on a team like that when it comes to a 9.5 point spread. So for me, it's a stay away spot. If I back anything in the game, I look at Louisville's team total over.
Yeah, you talked about it there, Max. It's like, man, if he's on and they're going, he's just such a big part of their offense, and if he's off, they're just lost a little bit, even though they're athletic and all that. It's just without him rolling, it's tough to North Carolina to stay off for me. Let's get to this game. Trenton mixed it. I don't know what he meant here. Colgate half and half over. Don't know what that means, but let's talk the full game. Tell me what you like the first half either way. American Colgate laying 16.5. This total is 137.
Yeah, it's important to know that this American team has been playing some decent basketball as of late, and that obviously coincides with getting healthy. Losing Conor Nelson definitely did not do this team any favors, but we've seen some pretty good balanced offensive games from the rest of this roster, and it starts with Stacey Beckton Jr. If Stacey Beckton Jr. isn't able to get off that mid-range shot, if he isn't able to get those lanes to drive on the baseline, then American is definitely going to be handicapped from a scoring perspective. I think that with Johnny O'Neal, while we love his ability to stretch a defense, he's got to be able to give you more on the glass, and he's giving you some good rim protection. So now the rebounds need to come along with that. I think at the end of the day, American does have the pace and tempo and the scoring ability to go with Colgate. However, their best option is to try and limit the catch and shoot situations for guys like Jack Ferguson and Tucker Richardson. And if they can keep Nelly Cummings from hitting those top of the circle threes, I think American can at least put up a fight for at least 20 minutes. When it comes to full game, while I don't want to lay 16 and a half or 17 and a half points with Colgate, I wouldn't be opposed to freaking taking a team total with them. But the only thing that I've gotten involved in personally so far is American first half.
Yeah, you could look at American. I guess you're right. I wouldn't lay the 16.5 either. If I were to play this one, it'd only be the team total with Colgate. Let's get to this game. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people seem to like Norfolk State here, Max, against Morgan State. They're laying 5.5. This total's 146 just about everywhere, 146.5. You going to back Norfolk again?
Listen, it's a sticky situation, but schematically, Norfolk is going to be able to stop and score against this Morgan State team. I think that with Morgan State, it's really important to get good production from their two top dogs, and that's Dorian Ware and Malik Miller. Without Malik Miller being able to score the basketball, he can still be very efficient and effective with his rebounding and his defense. But this Morgan State team has issues staying out of foul trouble. And when you put Norfolk State with their backcourt of Hawkins and Ings and Joe Bryant, that is not going to work out well for you. While I do think that they can bring in a couple guys to try and stymie Chris Bankston, I don't think that that's going to be successful for them either. I think that this is one of those classic games where we get a Norfolk team that sometimes doesn't come out very effective, but they really clamp up and step on the offensive foot pedal to get going. With this team and how many threes they're shooting, how many threes that they're hitting, I think that they can negate some of their issues at the free throw line and still win this game by double digits. I don't see this line being the right freaking posting. I would have posted this line at 8.5 and then moved it up to 10. So the fact that we're getting such a discount on a bona fide tournament team is just crazy. So they've gone out on the road and won games like this. They're going to do so tonight.
Yeah, I think they do too. It's my lean in this one.
Listen, Conor, Morgan State with their turnovers, that's what kills them the most. Yeah. Morgan State has trouble not having 20 turnovers in the game. If you do that versus Norfolk, that is not going to end up well for you.
I agree. I mean, I think they could win by, at least 8.
Like, does the first half not seem like a joke not to bet that?
Yeah, seems like a good spot. For sure. I wrote it down all earlier today, so I agree with you. Here, it's hard not to take them. All right, let's keep rolling here, Max. Marshall, Southern Miss. Ryan wants to know too many points here. Totals 152. Marshall's laying 6.
I can't take Marshall at 6 points. I can't do it.
I can't take Southern either.
No, I can't do it. They don't shoot threes, Conor. They don't hit threes. When your two best player and Andrew Taylor and Tavion Kinsey don't want to shoot threes, that's a big problem for me. While I do think their pace and tempo will elicit points, I think that the value is really with Southern Miss, team total over 72.5. That's what I thought was the best when I looked at that game.
72.5. Okay. Let's get to this one. I want to touch on ugly game. Goddamn bum fight, but sometimes you love these, Max. Holy Cross at Lafayette. And I'm saying this. Lafayette is laying 6 points to a team. Yes.
Conor.
You heard that right. Yeah.
Conor, don't you ever talk about the Patriot League like that again. Okay.
Hey, Patriot it's not the league. I know. I meant just this
great
specific.
Basketball.
At times.
Basketball.
Yeah, at times. Total 136. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know what's going to be wonderful about this game, Conor? Holy Cross is going to outright win. They're going to outright fucking win this game. And do
Yeah.
you know what that means? They're not going to win this game by 1. They're going to win this game by 3 or more. That's what I'm calling right now. Calling my shot because Cairo Luke and Jarrell Gates are a fucking force inside and on the perimeter in this league. Lafayette, while they do have Neil Quinn and they have CJ Fulton, I don't think that they have the lateral quickness or athleticism to stop what these guys are going to want to do. Jarrell Gates may be freaking out-heighted, but his weight and his width and his ability to get around defenders is very well known. I've watched it happen very often. I think that this is a number that should have been 3 at best. And if we're getting 5.5 or 6, that is fucking preposterous. And I think that Holy Cross first half full game is the way to go.
Hey, you got my endorsement because, like I said, was getting when I mentioned the game. How in the hell is Lafayette laying 6? I mean, I Holy Cross is, but yeah, this should only have been 3. Just period. They should be getting the 3 points because they're at home. And that's about it. Because both teams suck, and Holy Cross sucks on the road. But it's that. Here we go, Jake. Yeah, Max talked about that game. Southern Utah, go back. Not easy. You'd mentioned you more like it in a teaser, right, Max? Bring it down
I like
if you were.
Southern Utah as a teaser piece. That's my favorite way to use them.
Yeah, I think they're the better team. They win dicey laying 6 on the road.
Because they have very inconsistent second halves, Connor. Very inconsistent second halves. Good first half bet, not good full game, in my opinion.
You heard it from the man himself. First half look, too, if you're looking at it. All right, Max, let's get to this one. Can this team cover, or does this team just keep kicking their ass? Indiana State at Drake. Drake's laying 10.5. There's even 11s at a few spots. This total's 141.5. What do you like here?
I think that with Drake, my issue is what do they do? What do they do when they come up against a team like Indiana State, who is going to want to do 3 things? They're going to want to freaking score a layup, hit a 3, or turn the ball over. Those are the 3 most likely outcomes out of 95% of their possessions. I think that when you look at them, they're finally healthy. I think that if this was a home situation, I'd be all over Indiana State. But right now, I think that my numbers say that Drake can win this game, and they can win this game by a couple more points than we're seeing right now with the line. I'm just not going to be able to pull the trigger on it because that has just not been a profitable situation for me this year.
Yeah, definitely. Soup Panties wants to know thoughts on Liberty team total here, Max, at Central Arkansas. And they're laying 11 here. This total is 149.
It's hard for me to, first off, take the points with Liberty. So obviously I'd be on UCA with their home play, first half full game. And when it comes to Liberty's team total, if it's under 80 at 79.5, like I was looking before the show, it's just not a spot that I can really bring myself to freaking click the button on. While Liberty should be able to get that type of pointage tonight, their 3-point defense is what is the problem. And if they start hoisting up threes when they should be trying to just go inside and score with like Blake Preston and guys like that, Kyle Road, then it could be a tough number to get over. For me, I'm laying off the team total. If it was in the range of 73.5 to 75.5, that would be my threshold number, not 79.5.
All right, let's get back to the main board here. Big one, Penn State at Maryland. Interesting game. Penn State's played well, but not so much on the road. We got a low total here, right around 128.5, 129 max, and Maryland laying 2.5. You have any look here?
Yeah, I think that Maryland full game is the look, but I do think that Penn State probably comes out and surprises us with some decent road play. It just feels like one of those situations where everything's looking against them from a statistical perspective, and that's when you're going to see freaking John Harr and freaking Seth Lundy come out with a big game. Obviously, for this team, having Seth Lundy only contribute freaking under 5 points and play less than 30 minutes is not ideal for this team. But if you're going to get Miles Dredd to actually score the basketball and be effective, I'll trade that off. I think that what Penn State needs on the regular is guard scoring. And if they can get some of it on the road early, maybe they can sneak in at halftime with a close game, maybe even winning. So It's a
Alrighty.
sneaky spot.
It is. It is. This one's ugly. I have zero comment on it, but let me know if you do here. Florida State, lane 1 at Boston College, total 136.5.
It's hard not to like Florida State a little more now that we know that Raekwon Evans is going to play. The problem is we
Yeah.
don't know how much he's going to play or what quality he's going to be at after missing the amount of time that he has. I think that seeing the number at 1 really makes me suspect it and makes me lean towards Boston College. But Boston College needs 2 things. They need Brevin Galloway to hit threes and be effective in the starting lineup. And they need James Karnick on the freaking glass against all the size that you're going to see against Florida State's front court. So I'd be, if you put a gun to my head and told me I couldn't fuck Dr. Mandy ever again if I don't freaking take a side, I would take Boston College.
Yeah, okay. I will not be playing that. Let's get to the next one. I thought it was interesting. I was talking to you in the back about Georgia Tech at Syracuse. Syracuse lane 8.5. They've been good at home at the Carrier Dome. This total is at 146 max. If they don't shoot it, we were talking about. I think this is an under, but if shots drop and Georgia Tech and sloppy defense, it could go over. But I think it's just too many points here. Georgia Tech game. Syracuse games have gone under of late, 3 straight unders. Maybe they're due to shoot it well. Georgia Tech's played a bunch of games lately. What do you like here, Georgia Tech, Syracuse?
Yeah, I like Georgia Tech's defense to freaking rise to the occasion early on. I think that with Syracuse, the shooting that you're getting from the Boeheims and Cole Swider has been fantastic. But if you add in freaking Joe Girard, it makes it a very difficult team to deal with. However, I do think that the key for Georgia Tech in order to freaking have a chance in this game is what they do in the front court with Rodney Howard and Khalid Moore. These are the guys that really got to take advantage of the bottom of that zone. And without Jesse Edwards on the offensive side, you really do relegate this team to shooting a lot of jump shots, whether they be mid-range or from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
So it just seems like a schematic advantage for Georgia Tech. The problem for Georgia Tech is if they're going to zone up on Syracuse, Josh Painter's system really hasn't worked against the Syracuse offense. So they got to do something different. If they do something different, I think that we're going to see unders. And with Syracuse's team total being where it is, Connor, does seem like a spot that you either fucking win it fucking very convincingly or you lose it tragically.
I totally agree with that game because Georgia Tech can't shoot it that well. They play decent defense, and Syracuse can at times with both Boeheims, Buddy, and Jimmy. But if they're off, they could easily stay under. But yeah, if it gets going, no defense is played, and shots are dropping, it could be, this game could be in the 80s and be in the 150s. But I could only look under in that one. Let's get to this one real quick, Max. We'll get to some of these bigger games. Loyola Chicago versus Illinois State. Loyola Chicago's laying 9.5, total 137.5.
Yeah, I think that Illinois State is the spot to get on. I think that when I'm looking at this Illinois State team, obviously we have a coaching change and we are going to see a different scheme compared to what we saw the first time that these teams played. And while I expect Loyola Chicago to win this game, they do sometimes fumble the ball at the end when it comes to being a favorite at this type of number. If you've been betting Missouri Valley Conference and you follow the trends that are on team rankings and whatever other various sites, you know that there's a lot of value taking some of these dogs at these numbers. So for me, the Illinois State or pass. Maybe I look at Loyola Chicago as a teaser option or a team total over. But with the number going from 142.5 to 137.5, it's just a crazy line move. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on it. I mean, Illinois State, but I don't love it. Let's get to this next one here. West Virginia, TCU. TCU's laying 4.5, basically everywhere. There's still a 4, a few places. This total's right around 133.5, 134. What do you like, West Virginia, TCU?
Yeah, I think that it's interesting that the line has moved in favor of TCU. Eddie Lampkin obviously is a big difference maker to this front court. While you do have Xavier Cork in the backcourt, you still do need Lampkin to provide some good rim protection. I think that with TCU, it's hard to not be impressed by the development of Chuck O'Bannon and by the assertiveness of Damon Baugh running this offense. There's a lot of weapons from the perimeter. I just worry with West Virginia's physicality and all the beasts that they got off the bench. Like, we're talking about Gabe Osoboyan, one of my fellow Canadians, Demon Kerrigan. Like, they got a lot of different guys that they can bring out against you. And if West Virginia gets some decent shooting and scoring from Taz Sherman and Sean McNeil, they could pull the outright upset tonight. I think it's a bad schematic match for TCU with this West Virginia team, and I don't like the line.
Yeah, I just don't love it either. I like TCU a bit. 4.5. It was a pass for me. How about this game? Citadel, Sanford, massive line, 158, obviously, between these two. But what do you think about Sanford laying 6.5, 7 here?
I think that the only way that I want to look in that game is to look towards Sanford early on, but I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, me too. I'm agreeing.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game.
Yeah. No. All right, let's get to this big one. People are talking about it, Max. Baylor. Open at 6. It's down to 4.5. There's some 5s at Oklahoma State. Obviously, Oklahoma State not playing. You can't go to the tournament. This total's 139. Baylor's banged up, obviously, so I'm waiting kind of on that. I think if a few guys in, they're starting to play better basketball. They get really healthy. Look out. I kind of like a first half a little bit. Well, what do you like here, Baylor, Oklahoma State?
Yeah, I don't really like anything to do with Baylor unless I know that they're gonna have some guys in the lineup. But I will say this, as a guy that loves to fucking just hunt some numbers and just try and blank out what I know and see with my eyes, is that this Baylor team, when their team totals under 75, it's just calling my name. It's like a lady of the night down in the lobby waiting for me to come freaking lower into my building. It's like, come on, let's go. And that's how I feel about Baylor team total overs when you can get 70.5 or better.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, they've played up at times, I don't fucking know. I gotta wait on some of these guys.
There's better games to bet, and with less question marks. Why do we want to bet on question marks right now when we can wait a couple more hours?
Well said. Alrighty, we got a few more here, Max. And then we'll get to just a few on the added board. Arizona State at UCLA. UCLA's laying 13.5. There's a few 14s. You talked about this totals come down to 131.5, 131. What do you like here, Arizona State, UCLA?
Yeah, I think that Arizona State has had troubles getting going early on. I think that against UCLA with UCLA's defense, I think that that's going to be what stands out most. While I do expect points from the Bruins at home, I think that Arizona State being able to get into the 27-28 range is probably unlikely. So I'd be looking at first half team total under with Arizona State before I look at anything else.
Yeah, I mean, is Juzang going to play? Like, they've got guys in and out, but it hasn't seemed to matter. UCLA just seems to be kicking ass at home and winning by 20 lately. They had that game against Arizona State, though, where they struggled. What was that, a couple weeks ago? They went to that 3 overtime game. This is a lot of points. So I got to see who's in for UCLA as well. If Juzang's going to play, Riley, the whole thing there. Man, it's a lot there. All right, let's keep rolling. We got the Howard. Let's get to this one, Max. We just got a few more on the added board and we're done. Coppin State at Howard. Howard's laying 7.5, 8. I don't even want to lay that with them. This total's 148. It's come down a little bit. What do you think here?
Yeah, listen, I think that when we talk about this Coppin State Howard game, it does seem like a number where you want to back Coppin State early. But the way that this game ended last time they played at Coppin, Coppin made the comeback. Coppin freaking took advantage of Howard, who took their foot off the pedal. And I don't think that's going to happen again. With when you look at how much firepower this team has when they can make shots against a team like Coppin, they should be able to fuck with their eyes open. Like when Kyle Foster, Steven Settle, Randy Brumont, Ty Bibbs, all these guys get going from the 3-point line, they can put up 85 or 90 points. And having that kind of anger towards a Coppin State team that really got some good outliers in that game from Nende Tarki and freaking Jesse Zarzuela, I just don't think that's going to happen again this time out. I think that this is going to be a spot where Howard flexes early and they flex late.
All right. Yeah, Coppin's not very good. I just don't like laying these points with a team like Howard. They win by 5 tonight. I would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But shout out to the chat. Yeah, go ahead.
They're not going to do that. Sorry, bro.
Well, there you go. You took it here from this man. He's saying Howard easily wins. Shout out to the chat. Christopher Comentini, Nunya, Steph, Rasco, Sharpie up in here. What up, Sharpie? Good to see you, my man. Roland G.
Whales.
He already wrote it in here. Shout out to everyone in here. Tiffany H, T Mac, guys, good to see you in here. William Herman, everybody hit the like button. Thanks for being in here. We are almost done, Max. Let's rip through it. Alabama A&M, Florida A&M. They're laying 6. This total's low, 124.5, 125. Do you have anything here?
Yeah, of course. I love Alabama A&M in this spot. I think that with Alabama A&M having Garrett Hicks back to go along with Cam Tucker and Jalen Johnson, they finally have that 3-headed freaking offensive force. And I think that with EJ Williams coming off the bench and giving you that type of double-digit scoring production at 6'10 or 6'11, that could just freaking make it that much sweeter. I think Alabama A&M can win this game outright tonight.
I think so too. I agree with you there a little bit. Alrighty. Eastern Shore here versus North Carolina Central. Central's laying 6 at home. This total's 132 basically everywhere. Can you trust Eastern Shore on the road?
I was able to trust them in the non-conference with certain numbers. However, I do think that bubble has bursted. And while I do keep on falling into that trap of not being able to avoid the game where the streak ends, I do think that North Carolina Central here with Justin Wright leading the way offensively is the difference. We've seen him put up freaking double-digit after double-digit scoring production, 19, 20, 31 points, shit like that. And I think that with him, with all this experience and how much depth they have on this team, this is when we see the best from NCCU. If this line was 10, Conor, I would be on the other side. But at 5.5 or 6, it's NCCU for me.
All righty. Let's keep rolling along. Just a few left. Texas Southern, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Texas Southern's laying 9.5. Max's total's 136.5. Not big on Pine Bluff, but does Texas Southern win by double digits on the road?
I think that this is a spot where we can assume that they can. I don't want to lay it because Pine Bluff has played very well at home, but we saw last time out that fouling and not being able to hit your free throws at the end of game when you're trying to keep it close is difficult for this Pine Bluff team. I lean towards Texas Southern, but it's not one of my favorite boards in the SWAC tonight.
Yeah, I think they win. Just do they cover in this spot.
The over looks actually good. Yeah, the over looks
that 136.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Jot that down. Alrighty. Prairie View here versus Mississippi Valley State. Another team. Prairie View is laying 8.5 on the road, Max. This total's gone down about 3 points, down to 151.5. Do you got to look here?
Yeah, first off, shout out to Texas Southern for making the smart decision and signing Mr. Uno from freaking LBJ Austin. He will be a fucking guy that we know about and watch on Pub Sports. So shout out to his dad who created him through his dick, and we are blessed that he did that. Now, getting to the basketball game that we were talking about, Connor, you'll have to refresh me on that. Prairie
Prairie
View.
View A&M, Mississippi Valley State.
So Prairie View has some serious like retribution to get. Let's not forget last time that these two teams played, it was an 86-84 game or 84-82, an overtime loss for Prairie View. They got vengeance in their heart tonight. They're coming like I come for ladies of the night at the strip club. And I think that we're going to see Prairie View cover this number. I got 7.5. I still like 8.5. And listen, without Robert Carpenter, that takes away your big offensive weapon. And this game probably stays under.
All right. Last one, Max, and we're out of here. Alabama State. Interesting game here. Bethune-Cookman. Cookman's laying 2. This total's 134.5. What do you like here?
Yeah, with Alabama State, this is a really weird line because these teams combined for over 150 points the first time they played.
Yes.
And now we're only seeing a line move of 1 point towards the over with the second game's total. I think that this is a real freaking peculiar spot. I want to take the over in this spot, but something is telling me that, yeah, this is going to be under basketball. It's hard to believe that with the Hornets because they are healthy with Trace Young, Jordan O'Neal, Kenny Strawbridge, Gerald Liddell, but Bethune-Cookman, they got some revenge in their heart also. So tough spot from a side, tricky number because of how low it is. And my first instinct is to take the over.
Yeah, it seems low. Just, man, it's just everything that I was looking up, like you just talked about, you just said it. Everything I was saying, yeah, difficult one there. Excellent work, Max. We got through them all. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody here. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Just give us the thumbs up. That's all I asked for. And boom, we're already at 115. There you go. All right, Max, let's get on out of here. We're a few minutes over. Give me what you got. Best bet and the last word for the chat, as always.
Yeah, listen, I think that when it comes to this game tonight, it's a real tough spot, but I think that it's the safest way to bet it is to take this team total. When it comes to Middle Tennessee State and UTEP, I do worry that UTEP can shut them down a little, but when we're talking about freaking 70.5 or 71.5, I think it's too low. So whatever number you can get, I like this number up until 74. So we got a lot of wiggle room. I'm taking Middle Tennessee State team total over, and I'm also taking UTEP team total over 66.5.
Excellent work. All right, let me get to mine. We'll get out of here, Max. I agree. Let's just touch on that game since you just did it. You're on both team totals. I'm on the over. I got 137.5. There's still some of them out there, some 138s. I'm on Pacific, plus 13. Flat spot for San Francisco. I think Pacific does enough at home to cover this number. And an interesting game here. I kind of was going to leave it off, but I'm not. Fuck it. Idaho State, plus 13.5. And I also lean to that over, 144. Not an official play. I just leaned to that over. But give me the 13.5 with Idaho State. And that is it. All right, Max, we're out of here. Great work, my guy. We're out of here on a Monday. We will see you tomorrow. He's a great Maxwell Smart. I'm Conor Mack. We're out of here. We be pumping!